I want to take today and talk to you about how I got started. I got started back in 2005 by accident. I didn't set out to start doing this. It was just by accident that I got into it. And I was working for a utility company in the town that we're at, and I just wanted to make some extra cash, and didn't really know how to do it. As far as starting out, I didn't know how to I just wanted a hobby, or not a hobby, but just something to make extra money with, And so I called my dad, was talking to him about it, and he said, man, you need to buy you a stump grinder. I've been doing it and making pretty good extra cash with it, just riding around, knocking on doors, he said. So he found one for $3,500. It came from a rental company, and it was a small 252 Vermeer. And so I went ahead and bought it. And my wife said, man, you're crazy. There ain't nobody gonna pay you to grind stumps. It's just not gonna happen. It's just, nobody's gonna pay you. Who's gonna pay you to grind stumps? So I bought it, and I went out that weekend. I had bought it, and it was Good Friday. And went out and started grinding stumps, knocking on doors, and just trying to get my, just use it. And a guy that I was working with, his mom had some stumps in her yard. So I went over there and I grinded the stump just to get used to it. Well, anyway, that whole weekend, over that weekend, 3-day weekend, I made $900. And I was like, man, this is pretty good, man, And my wife said, sell it. You done made, some of your money back. Now sell it. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna keep this thing. So I just kept on, and when I got off of work, I would go out and do the same thing. I didn't have kids at the time. I was young. I was 24, I guess, at that age. I started out. So I didn't have no experience with it or anything. I wasn't even, trying to become a tree guy or anything. But as I started doing the stumps, people would ask me, hey, do you do trees? And I said, no, not at that time. I said no. And so one day I was at a gas station, and a guy that cut trees, he asked me, he said, do you do stump grinding for the public? I said, I do it for anybody who would pay me. He said, I got a guy, but he's not being reliable and stuff like that, and I'll call you, So about 2 or 3 months later, I saw him in town pulling a rental stump grinder. I got in behind him and followed him, and I asked him, I said, you still need somebody? He said, yeah, here's the addresses of, 4 or 5 jobs. Go do them and I'll pay you. Well, I started doing that, and I worked with him for about, I guess, 9 months, 6 months, something like that. And it rolled on, and I'm like, man, this guy's doing very well at this, but he don't know how to manage his money. I mean, he's just terrible at it. I mean, he's terrible. I mean, he has all the potential in the world to be very successful, but he just blows it. I mean, and he just did all crazy stuff. I mean, from strippers to whatever. I mean, he was all about it, man. And so, about this lifestyle, But anyway, it rolled on, and then about a year later, I guess, he made a suggestion that one day he said he's tired of it. He done got to where he was selling off his stuff, and he just got to where he was fed up with it. And I asked him one day, I said, what would it take to come work for me? And he told me, told me the amount and all this, and I said, do it. And I was still working at the utility company. And he was calming down a little bit, getting himself back on the right track. And but anyway, he come work with me, and it changed everything. And I started buying a truck and a trailer, And then I got into buying a chipper. I moved up, and as I went on, you know, as you start making more and more, or you start doing jobs, you start buying better equipment, and that's what I ended up doing. So every year, since I've been in business, I always would make one big purchase a year. I would buy one big piece of equipment and pay cash for it, whether it was my, you know, Bobcat, or you know, the stump grinder, or whatever, you know, that I needed, a bucket truck, you know. So every year I'd save up and pay cash for it. So as it grew, it just started growing, and I never expected to grow and grow and grow. It just kept on and going. And the more work we did, the more, I mean, it just kept piling on. And so one day it just dawned on me, I was making more money now on the side than I did in my full-time job, and then it became a conflict. The people started, they started being jealous, is the nice way, I guess you'd say, or envious. And people see you having things, or not really having things, it makes life easier, you know. You know, I mean, I got lucky, and you know, I'd been all right. I would still probably be at that company, but my boss was so terrible. It wasn't even funny. I mean, you know, he hated people that did side work. They always wanted you locked down, couldn't do anything, you know, you couldn't do any, you know, no side work or anything. And I was doing it, and was doing very well. I ended up having 2 people work for me full time during the day while I was there, and I would pull call at nighttime. And so I was on the clock 24/7. You know, I was always working, and we didn't have no kids at the time, so I could work, you know, long hours. Or it's been it just, you know, it just snowballed. But that's been the best thing. These, you know, if you're just starting out and you don't know, you know, a good business to get into, stump grinding is great. I mean, I've been blessed like you wouldn't believe, and I'm almost getting to where I could probably retire, really. If I sell all my equipment and stuff, I could go ahead and call it a day. But I enjoy doing it. I enjoy getting out, working. I enjoy, you know, doing the whole shebang. It does not bother me one bit. And but it has been a blessing to start this. And if you're young and you're just starting out in life, and you're 22, I mean, if you're 18 and 25, and you know, you want to do a side hustle, well, this is great. I mean, if you really want to do something, you know. But I would start out small, and I would start out with paying cash for it. Or if I did, I would start out and I would just get it and pay it off as quickly as I can.